how can you ensure there will be jobs available for college graduates in the state of California?
One of the reasons journalists are so unpopular, we kind of rank with used car salesmen and politicians, is that we tell the truth. And oftentimes people don't want to hear the truth. The truth is, I cannot assure that you will have a job when you graduate. I can't. I just can't. It doesn't mean that I won't work to pass legislation that will encourage businesses to hire people. I believe that education is the key to improving our economy. I don't think that cutting education will help create jobs. I don't think cutting taxes will create jobs. Never in the history of America has a tax cut led to job creation. I own a small business. If you could reduce my tax burden to zero, and I wouldn't hire more people unless I had more customers, unless I had more demand for my services. Cutting regulations does not increase employment. We have plenty of regulations. Most of the regulatory burden that business owners complain about, by the way, is local and state regulation. But federal regulation is also burdensome. But it's, on the other hand, it is a necessary element to making sure that the marketplace is fair and safe. Getting rid of regulations is how we got into this problem in the first place. And so I would oppose getting rid of regulations to protect us. I would also say something else that is unpopular, particularly in this district at this time, which is that I belong to a labor union. My union doesn't represent me here. As a journalist, I've covered a lot of labor place conflicts. I covered the lockout in Boron a few years ago, for instance. And I thought that the union representing the workers in Boron, the mine workers, did a bad job of representing them. And I said so. I had them on my radio program. We talked about this. Unions are not perfect, but unions are necessary. The advantages that we have today of a safe workplace, of an 8-hour day, of vacation time, and so forth, these are all as a result of the ability of people to bargain collectively, to speak together. I often jokingly say the first words of the preamble of our Constitution is in order to form a more perfect union. You know, okay, I understand that we're talking about labor unions, but the idea is that we should work together. That's what frustrates me about these Democrats versus Republicans screeds that I keep hearing. Just because there is a certain number of people from the other party doesn't mean you can't work together. The way we create jobs is by working for our common interests, and that's what I would do. I'm trained in conflict resolution. I don't care whether you are a Democrat or a Republican, or if you're like me, not a member of those parties. What matters is that we recognize our common interests, and we have them. It is not just party. It's about what we want for our future, what we want for our children's future, what we want for our quality of life. That's the way that we make things better. I'll say one last thing about job creation. People like to say, well, government doesn't create jobs, small business does. And it's true that small business does create jobs, but government helps. And by the way, government does employ a lot of people. And when I hear politicians say, we're going to cut the size of government, what that really means is they're going to fire people. There's only one person I want to fire, and that's Kevin McCarthy.